so glad that you've decided to take these next few minutes to join me in a mindful eating practice. Today, we're playing with mindful eating as a way of deepening into the Sphira of Yesod. Yesod is the second to the last, or said differently, the second rung on the ladder of the Kabbalistic tree of life that joins earth and heaven. And it is the Sphira that's connected to our passions. In a traditional Kabbalistic sense, it's associated with the divine phallus, and it is the sexual fire that burns in all of us. It's meant to be the divine manifestation of the yearning for reunification that suffuses all of multiplicity. In the Kabbalistic system, which is radically monotheist at its heart, all is sourced in the one, in the radical unity of source, known in its truest form as Ein Sof or Ayin, nothingness, that without name or distinction. And yet, in manifest reality, we experience the world as wildly diverse, tremendous and splendid multiplicity of creation, of vibration, of manifestation. And so the Kabbalistic system says that all of this diversity, it yearns for reunification, that its true nature is at home in the one, and that although we are perceiving it as in the realm of multiplicity, as separate in some essential way, that its true essence is with the one, and that the aspects of which are manifest, which are separate, they are longing for return. And the tenor of that longing offered to us in the Kabbalistic system is the same as the charge of our own sexuality. This is revolutionary if your views are primarily sourced in Christianity, which associates sex with original sin. There's no notion of original sin in the Kabbalistic system. To the contrary, sexuality is an expression of divinity, like all things, and the longing that we taste with our own sexual yearning is a reflection of the divine longing for a reunification of all of multiplicity. So, with that, we're going to turn our attention to a mindful eating practice. Mindful eating is a wonderful, brief taste, pun certainly intended, brief taste of the deepening practices of Yesod. Fullest expression of Yesod practice is with conscious sexuality, but we can taste it right here, right now, in these next few minutes. My strong encouragement to you is to take on a mindful eating practice with your first bite of food each day. So often, if you eat for the first time in the morning hours, often we engage with our first bite of food amidst an onslaught of stimuli, and we can miss it. And it's a shame. It's a shame after the fast of the night to miss the deep pleasure in our first bite of food. So I encourage you to take it on in that way. And this mindful eating practice, it's really one of the most basic spiritual practices of Judaism. We as human beings need food. According to the Jewish view, we are designed to need food so that we can have the felt sense of having our needs met by Creator and creation. And in having those needs met, we are designed to experience great pleasure. So let's do that right now. So for mindful eating today, I'm going to use a passion fruit. Passion fruit is perfect for the week of Yesod because it has the word passion in the name. And it's also a fruit that really elicits all five senses. I'm holding it here in my hand, and it's a mastery of textures, a firm, smooth outer shell, and a juicy fruit inside that's going to give a crunch when I take a bite, and I'm going to be able to hear it. The smell of passion fruit is unbelievable, and as soon as I cut it open, the smell just filled the space that I'm sitting in right now. And it has such a wonderful sweetness to it. such a wonderful sweetness to it, and also a tartness. And when we eat mindfully, we're going to notice that our palate is designed that we taste different flavors and different types of flavor in different locations in the mouth. And so we're going to be able to have the felt sense of eating the passion fruit all around the mouth. With any mindful eating practice, but especially with a gorgeous piece of fruit like this, it's inspiring to call to mind that this passion fruit, this is sunlight turned to energy, whose experience is sweet. This is sweet sunlight, and it's incredible. And the passion fruit vine that birthed this fruit for me, it can do something I cannot do. It can draw energy directly from the sun, be nourished by it, and convert that energy into fructose, which tastes to me as a splendidly sweet. When I have that felt sense of eating something sweet, my dopamine system is stimulated. I have an explosion of pleasure in the brain that's really indistinguishable from the pleasure that I get if I were to elect to ingest cocaine, for example, or have a like on social media. I get it in this very, very organic way by tasting this sunlight captured and transformed into this particular here and now, which is passion fruit. So passion fruit is an interesting thing. It grows on a vine that's planted in the earth and gives fruit year after year. So whenever we engage in a conscious eating practice from a Jewish perspective, we need to know the story of the food that we're holding, because the invocation we make, the blessing we make, tells the story of that thing. So although almost all fruit, we make the blessing that it grew on a tree, in Hebrew borei, peri ha'etz. This particular fruit is actually classified halachically according to Jewish law as a vegetable, and we say on it that it grew out of the ground because its vine is planted in the earth and it doesn't have a big fat trunk that becomes a tree. It's a vine and it grows in the earth. Now it's tricky because we do have a special food invocation where we specifically mention a vine, but we preserve that blessing for grapes alone. So for this, we're going to, when we are ready to do our conscious eating practice, we're going to tell the story of the fruit and note that it grew out of the ground. We're going to say the special phrase, borei peri ha'adama. Borei peri ha'adama. Okay, so mindful eating is about mustering the full attention of all five senses, joining that with my capacity for the paying of attention. In Hebrew, paying attention is called sumet lev. Sumet means placing, lasim is to place, lev is the heart. So right now I'm going to bring the fullness of my heartfulness, place my heart right here in this particular moment where I'm holding this glorious piece of fruit with the intention to make it part of me, ingest it, bring it back into me, and I experience pleasure in so doing, and hopefully a sense of gratitude and blessedness. So I call to mind the fullness of my senses. I begin to have awareness of touching, smelling, listening, seeing, and of course most of our attention will be from taste to tasting once we get going. So I might inhale to smell, just being with the felt sense of the thing. I've done my research. I know that the blessing I'm going to say over this fruit is the general invocation, blessed are you, creator of the universe, who has brought forth this fruit, and in this case we're going to say from the earth. And I'm ready, so I have my spoon right here. And when eating mindfully, our goal, we need to go slowly, because each step of the eating process has its own sensory experience to it. So right now I'm going to say my blessing and take my first bite and then not do anything else. I'm not going to chew, and I'm certainly not going to swallow, but I am going to inhale to smell again the passion fruit. I'm going to say my invocation, Baruch Atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri Adama. Blessed are you, creator of the universe, who has created this fruit of the earth. You hold there, I'm going to keep talking, and just beginning to taste in all the various places of your mouth. Holding the bite there, acknowledging that with passion fruit, because it's very liquid, we can have our tasting starts right away. We don't need to release it with any work from our teeth. And noticing that sweetness is tasted in one place, tartness in the other. And then when you're ready, you'll give just one chew to break open the fibers there. And of course, if you're doing this exercise not with passion fruit, you may need to chew to start your process. And you're going to chew slowly and just noticing flavor in all the different parts of your mouth. Noticing sound, noticing texture. Perhaps again inhaling to see if the sense of smell is different now that the food is inside of you. And then when you can't chew anymore, you'll begin the process of swallowing and you'll get really quiet. And I want to encourage you to track the sensation of the food as it travels down the back of the throat, down the esophagus, noticing where you lose your felt sense of it. And once you finish chewing this bite, just close the eyes and go deeply inward. Considering that you have just ingested sunlight turned to energy, which we call calories, whose experience is sweet. And considering what you might do with that energy today. How will it fuel you? In the Jewish tradition, we are meant to eat, bless, and be satisfied. There's a deep linking between the process of eating and the felt sense of satisfaction, of enoughness. Now, for many of us, the experience of eating actually elicits something quite other than the felt sense of satisfaction. I am enough. I have enough. But let's just see with this bite if we can't cultivate that sense of seva, deep satisfaction. This one bite contained the whole universe within it. Sunlight turned to sweetness. And the energy in it is right now filling me up. The fact that I could come to be the possessor of this fruit is a testament to the fact that I am blessed. And so I can say thank you for that blessing. I can feel satisfied that I am held in the palm of the Creator, that I am enough, that I have enough.